All right, last one for you. Let's talk about quarterbacks being developed coming up. The Heisman Trophy finalists that have been mentioned, 3 quarterbacks, none of them Caleb Williams, and then a very well-deserved spot for Marvin Harrison Jr., period, end of story, okay? But I don't think anybody here that I've spoken to believes in Caleb Williams that it's a game-time decision on January 15th. Everybody believes he's gone, okay? And by January 15th, though, it's entirely possible he will not know who he's leaving USC to go play for, because the number 1 overall pick may be in Chicago's hands, and it could be Chicago, or it could be anybody that makes a deal with Chicago. It could be New England. Do we know what his preference is? Are there any conversations that you've been privy to about Caleb Williams and anything of that nature that he might play games here with his eligibility? What do you think?
I thought it was asinine, like the idea that he would give up that. Because to me, like, Rich, what this is all about and what smart people around Caleb Williams will tell him, what this is about is not about the first rookie contract. It's about starting the clock towards a contract that eventually, like when we get there 3 or 4 years from now, like could pay you $60 or $70 million a year, right? Like the 1 year of delay in getting to that contract, to that second contract is massive as far as injury risk, as far as just having that money in your pocket, all of it, So, and I would say the way I put it, I don't know if I put it this way with you before. If you're Caleb Williams, it's better to be Eli Manning than Peyton Manning. You remember Peyton Manning stayed in school an extra year because maybe he wasn't wild about the idea of going to the Jets. So he stays in school the extra year, winds up with the Colts, right? Eli Manning didn't have a choice. Like he had exhausted his eligibility, but the Eli Manning path was to force your way somewhere, right? I think in this case, if you're Caleb Williams, based on that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow in 3 or 4 years, it is better to be Eli Manning than Peyton Manning, because it's just, there's less risk involved. There's no guarantee that a team you like is going to have the number 1 pick in 2025. It makes no sense. So, my sense is that Caleb is going to get that advice from somebody. And I think a lot of the noise that's come out since then, and I hate to pin this on one person, but a lot of NFL people think it's his dad. And that's going to be what NFL teams are going to be cutting through and assessing Caleb Williams over the next 3 or 4 months, is like how much of the noise about having equity in the team and driving yourself to this team or that team, or staying in school if you don't like the team with the number 1 overall pick, like how much of that's actually coming from the kid. That's something teams are going to be, the teams at the top are going to be digging through on Caleb Williams. And, especially the team that number 1, that's going to have to make the choice between Caleb Williams, who is seen as a generational talent, right? And then Drake May, who's considered a guy who would be worthy of going first overall in a lot of drafts. And by the way, you talked about the Heisman finalists. I would not, if there's one guy who has a chance to sneak into that stratosphere, do not sleep on Jaden Daniels. I would just say that right here, right now. Do not sleep on Jaden.
I think he wins it, Albert. I think he wins it.
I'm not saying about winning the Heisman. I'm saying
you're talking about top 5 next year?
The draft, yeah.
Okay. All right.
The drumbeat, and this started in October for me. I'll check in with these people over the course of the season. Some people that are out on the road at the colleges and are looking at this stuff, every day. It's their job to do it.
Yeah.
It started in October. Like, keep an eye on the LSU kid. Keep an eye on the LSU kid. Like, he's making headway. And so I'm not saying he's going to go in front of Caleb Williams or Drake May. Could it be a conversation for somebody at number 2, Drake May or Jaden Daniels? I think that's certainly in play now.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.